Good morning, everyone, and especially my friend Richard Brooke. It is so good to see you, and lots of fun memories having lunch together or something like that. We used to live in the same town, and that was a real joy. Coming to your world headquarters and having some good visits there. Oh my goodness, you're a legend. I think one of the most wonderful ideas that's changed my whole life was back in my 20s, and they said where you will be in 5 years depends on the books you read, the people you associate with. At that time, the cassette tapes that you listen to, and that's everything. And maybe to kick that off a bit, because Richard, you've changed and you've got to get this book. Everybody needs this book. And over the years that we've known each other, I've ordered hundreds of your books, not just for me, but for my team, because I,
Yes,
I
you
think,
have.
wow, this
Maybe
changes me.
Bell.
And I'm thinking right now, this day, watching this, or when you do watch it, this could change you because there's something we've all heard this. There's nothing so powerful as an idea whose time has come, and an idea that gets inside your head and you think about it. Changing your thinking can change your whole life. And so this is from Richard here, because you changed. And so here's what happened. He said, I changed. I changed who I hung out with. I changed what I read, what I watched, and what I listened to. I changed my opinion about the world and about myself. I changed what I said to myself. I changed the chemistry of my body. I changed how I felt. I changed my attitude. And with my attitude, wow. Oh, I changed my attitude and my altitude. Okay. I changed what I believed. I changed my habits. I even changed what I loved to do. And as a result, I changed my skills. It wasn't easy, but it was just as simple as the decisions I've made early on. I just decided to be different and to do different things. And then I kept deciding in those new directions over and over again until it caught hold. And then all I did was hold on. Wow, change is possible for all of us. And just finish this up here. I suggest that if it is on purpose, and this is the idea, have you ever changed before? Well, if it's been on purpose and by design, you can change more in the next year than you have changed in your whole life. In the next 4 years, you can become a whole different person, manifesting entirely different results. And oh my goodness, reading about you, shockingly, you were a happy chicken processor. That would have been just fine until some adversity came and they didn't want to promote you. And you were introduced to this wonderful personal development program known as multi-level marketing. And tell us your story, because you've changed a lot. You've become what you've referred to as an ontological coach. Look that up. That's
You have to look
powerful
that
stuff.
up. Well, thank
So
you, Dave. It's an honor to be here. You've been a good friend for a long time, and we've had a lot of fun together. And I've always been inspired watching your journey of leadership, courage, and vision. You are a true example of kind of people that this profession produces and the kind of people that help a lot of other people, because none of us can be successful in network marketing unless we help other people be successful. Just it's not a solo operation, it's a team thing. So you've done that better than most people I've ever met in this profession. It's always an honor to work with you. My story started, I guess, 49 years ago after barely getting out of high school. Not because I was stupid, I just didn't like school. I didn't go to college because I didn't have good grades. I ended up working at a chicken factory in Livingston, California, not far from where I grew up. And I think the scary thing about working at the chicken factory is I actually loved it. I loved working there. And I had a whole vision. I didn't know what vision was. I didn't know what goal setting was. Never heard of either one of those concepts. But I had a vision of spending the next 36 years, a total of 40 years at the chicken plant, and maybe someday even running it. I had ambition to work my way up in management, teach other people how to cut chickens. Kind of crazy. But the owner of the chicken plant, in all of their wisdom, hired this new guy to run the whole operation. His name was Earl Tooker. And Earl, of all things, had a master's degree in poultry husbandry. Not sure how you pursue that degree, where you ever get that idea to get a master's degree in poultry husbandry. But he did. And so he came into Foster Farms was the name of the company. And he created this new mandate that you couldn't go any further up the management system at Foster Farms unless you had at least a 4-year degree. And I was already in this position where it was all based on hats, right? So if you had a blue hat, you might manage a team of about 10 or 15 people. If you had a red hat, might be 40 or 50 people. If you had a white hat, might be a few hundred. And I had a blue hat, and I was next step would be get a red hat, then a white hat. That was the network marketing rank system at the chicken plant. And Earl Tooker come along and said, you can't get a red hat unless you got a 4-year degree. And oddly, Dave, at the time, one of my best friends in life, actually the guy who got me the job at the chicken plant, he'd already left, went to do something else. He was calling me at the chicken plant and saying, hey, you got to come to this meeting. We're going to make a lot of money. Come to this meeting, make a lot of money. And I have such empathy for people who say no to money, right? Because if anybody in the group has done any prospecting or asking of their network, hey, would you like to look at this opportunity to make extra money? People say no. And like, really? But I said no. And I was working like 60 hours a week to make $1,200 a month. And he was offering me an opportunity to make $5,000 a month part-time. And I said no. And I meant it. I actually meant it. I said no like 3 or 4 times. He kept calling me back. No, I'm not interested in that. And it's taken me decades to really figure out, like, how could somebody say no to that and actually mean it when they're slaving away for barely enough to get by, and somebody says, hey, I've got an opportunity where you could get on top of the power curve, make extra money, life would be better. And you say no, and you mean it. And so what that was about for me was the idea, he actually overshot, which is one of the things I know you and I teach people. If you're going to offer people an opportunity, kind of a good rule of thumb is maybe figure out what 1/3 of their full-time income is and offer them that. So if somebody makes 10 grand a month, say, hey, I got an opportunity where you can make $2,000 or $3,000 a month. Very significant extra income. But it's not talking to them about making $100,000 a month when they make 10. So he overshot at 5 grand a month because how I heard that was too much money. I can't make that much money. That's out of my comfort zone. That doesn't make any sense to me, how you could make that kind of money even part-time. And then he wanted me to go to a meeting, like a business meeting. Well, at the chicken plant, we don't have business meetings, right? We put a smock on and rubber gloves and rubber boots, and we go cut chickens and teach people how to cut chickens. The idea of going to a business meeting with people in suits, strangers, no, I don't want to go to a business meeting. Again, out of my comfort zone. So long story short, because I could tell my story for a couple of days, Earl Tooker came along. All of a sudden, my opportunity at Foster Farms was over. I didn't go follow up on this guy and say, okay, show me your deal now. I just happened to go by his house about 3 weeks later. And before network marketing, his hair was down to here. He never wore shoes, rarely wore a shirt, cut off jeans. He worked at the Ragu spaghetti sauce factory in the summer, and in the winter, he collected unemployment. And he was also, California in the 70s, an independent pharmaceutical rep. So he didn't have a lot of credibility with me, but he was a good friend. And he's in a 3-piece suit, his hair's cut, and he's celebrating his first commission check, which was more money than I made working all month at Foster Farms. So I looked, and so he showed me this thing. In that particular company, it was 5 who get 5, who get 5, who get 5. So you get 5, and they each get 5, 25, and they each get 5, 125, they each get 5, 625, they each get 5, 3125, all these distributors and customers and all over the yellow pad, and none of it made any sense to me at all. But for some reason, Dave, and I think the reason was that company, that community, that movement had a message And the message was, whatever you want to do in life, you can do, and we'll teach you how to do it. You can have whatever you want to have. You can do whatever you want to do. You can be whoever you want to be. And we're going to teach you the fundamental philosophies and the strategies to how to do that. And nobody had ever mentioned anything like that to me in my entire life. And these people were very excited. And nobody at the chicken plant was excited. Right? Nobody. People just like 5 o'clock in the morning, here we go to the chicken plant. And they couldn't wait to get out of there and go to the bar and get drunk every day after working at the chicken plant. And so I was attracted to this energy, this optimism, this idea of, hey, there's actually a way that you can succeed in whatever you want to do on purpose, by design. And we're going to teach you how to do it. So I stuck around looking at this 525, 125, 625 model, which is the essence of network marketing. And it took me about 3 weeks to figure that out, to accept the idea that, okay, I guess a product could be sold not by one person seeing how much product they can sell, but a product could be sold by, let's see how many people we can get to sell it. And if each one of them only sells a little bit, in fact, if each one of them only uses it, but there's a lot of them, then the total volume, sales volume, can be a lot, right? So 5, 25, 125, 625, 30, 125, everybody's selling $100 a month worth of product, which really means they're just using it, right? Because if they were selling it, it'd be $300, $400, $500, $600, $1,000 a month each. So I just finally understood and accepted that model, and just sort of lights went on, flipped, went after it. Of course, I was ill prepared because all I ever did was cut school, cut chickens. And so I failed miserably for 2.5 years. But then I finally figured not it out, not the business so much, but I figured me out. And I figured, where was I sabotaging myself? Where did I have stinking thinking? It just took 2.5 years of being in that environment of reading, listening, studying, to train myself to think like an optimistic, motivated business person or entrepreneur. Because I just never had any of that kind of training. My parents weren't really business people. And so it clicked. And in about a year's time, I sponsored maybe 60, 70 people, just whoever I could get to look, and I enrolled them. And 4 of them did something. 1 of them did a lot. And I got in when I was 22. By the time I was 28, I had 30,000 active people on my team. I was making $40,000 a month in 1980. Never had any financial guidance either. So guess what I did with the $40,000? Spent it like a madman. But I built a huge team, great customer base with a fabulous product. Unfortunately, I did build it in the wrong company, because that company eventually went out of business and I had no idea what to look for there. I just caught me totally by surprise. But I had enough money at the end of that to buy a piece of a little fledgling network marketing company in 1986, 86, I think. And I built that company for 35 years and started another company. I actually owned 2 network marketing companies for a while. And about 6 years ago, I sold those companies to a multi-billion-dollar network marketing company. And now all I do is coach and train. And ontological means state of being. So what the ontological coach does is they realize that the client, so let's say everybody on your team is a client. If I was working with your team, what the ontological coach knows is the client almost always knows what to do. You could take weight loss, for example. Everybody knows how to lose weight, right? we know what to eat and what not to eat, pretty much, right? So do you eat donuts if you want to lose weight? That would be a no, right? Do you eat lots of fresh vegetables and salads and maybe a high protein, moderate carb diet? Most people go, okay, yeah. And you got to eat less calories than you burn. In calories in, calories out. I know there's lots of debates about that, right? But most of us pretty much know how to lose weight. Most of us pretty much know how to build a network marketing business. We know what we need to do. We just don't do it. So what an ontological coach does is not deal so much with the what to do, but why to do it. And I just work with people to change their story such that their story inspires them to be in action. Because most of us want whatever's out there in front of us. We want to be successful. We want to rank up. We want to build a team. We want to talk to people. We want to enroll people. And we pretty much know how, even if it's not perfect. We pretty much know how, right? Because you and I, we built enormous organizations pretty much doing it all wrong. We just worked and we kept working and kept working. And so it paid off. And so what a ontological coach does is help people change their story so they don't procrastinate. They're not embedded in fear and doubt. They don't have a story about no one wants to listen to me. Everybody's going to say no. No one wants to do this. I'm going to look like an idiot. They don't have that story. They have a different story. And I coach people on those stories. And that's my story.
Well, this is fantastic stuff. And I think the thing that gets both of us really excited is meeting a person, and just meeting someone opens up a whole world of new possibilities. And the great thrill is if you have something that you could share with somebody that could change everything. And I just love that idea that every day we have the opportunity to make a difference. And if we do that, it'll make a difference. If we hadn't have done that, it wouldn't have happened. But by us doing it, amazing things happen. And I just love the thrill of that. And oh my goodness, just right now at this moment, I'd been stuck for a while and all of a sudden released with exciting new things to share with people. Oh, if you're not growing, you're dying. And it's more fun to grow than die. As far as just staying at the same, there isn't such a thing. And it's just fun to keep growing. Some of the things I think that's just really wonderful is, oh, a lot of people, when they first look at this, and I got to say, one of the most wonderful introductions to even looking at what we're doing, everybody needs to read this book. And I think when you go through this, it makes so much sense. My thoughts is if somebody will actually read that book, they'll be thinking, I probably should do this. This idea of exponential multiplying, replicating, all of these things, and being able to be a part of that with all upside, no downside. The only risk is just to your own ego. Somebody might say no to you, all huge upside. I think essentially it comes down to, if I don't do this, I'm an idiot. I just, it's so amazing. And then the more you look at it also, I think one of the big things is superficially, you take a glance at it and you're going to be thinking, okay, risk reward, what's my chance of making it? How many people go diamond? One of my favorite thoughts is how long does it take for the average person to go diamond? And the answer is the average person will never go diamond. And then you can change your odds. You can be one of those ones. And starting over several times myself, looking at the odds, and I just think the odds don't matter at all. I can change the odds myself because I'm going to do stuff that most other people don't. And especially in the world of network marketing, where it doesn't cost anything to join. You know, you buy a kit, and then at that point onward, you can do nothing, which is what most people do. But oh my goodness, as Jim Rohn says, we have something that's really easy to do, but conversely, it's easy not to do. And so having a purpose and desire to do it, and then the magic of compounding, repeating yourself over and over again. success becomes more and more inevitable rather than just an uncertainty. If you got a product people need, if you're in the right place at the right time, a growth environment, other people have done it, you do the same thing they're doing, then it just becomes a certainty. All it is just time and effort. Maybe, as it says here, it might not happen in a week because the math, 1 penny, 2 penny, 4 penny, 8 penny, 1632. Right at first, we're dealing with pennies, but a couple of years into it, it could be serious. Talk a little bit about that. And I think everybody, we all need to get into richardbrook.com, get into the podcast where you will be in 4 or 5 years, depends on the books you read, the people you associate with. Change your associations. One of the most wonderful things, so much of the great stuff is for free. Your podcast, you're interviewing giants in this, and it's for free. My goodness. I get one of these, download it, listen to it while you're going for a walk or at the gym, and you will change your life. So talk a little bit about the odds. Can you make it in this?
I sent you a link, Dave, where people can get a free digital copy of this if you want to share that with them. And you just bought 100 of these. This is my wife's book, which is The 4-Year Career for Women. I wrote The 4-Year Career, all great books to study. But Dave's talking about the penny and compounding, and it is the essence of the wealth building strategy and mechanism behind network marketing. Network marketing is really, really simple, but it has this potent aspect to it that's unlike any distribution model, any business model on the planet. And it is based on compounding. And it is based on the rule that every customer, become a customer of a product. You love a product. You find a product, you just fall in love with it. You're going to use it. The value proposition's there. Whatever it does for you is worth whatever it costs. And you decide, I love this product. Well, for most customers, that's where it all ends, right? You just keep buying the product. Somebody somewhere is making money off the whole thing. But in network marketing, the founders of this concept said, okay, well, who are the best people? What's the best way to get the word out about the product? Well, we can advertise, buy all kinds of advertising. We can put it in stores. We can do all that traditional stuff. But they just basically said, what if we have our customers, our best raving fans of the product, what if we have them spread the word about the product? And instead of paying 50% of our revenue on all kinds of overhead and advertising, promotion, however you do it, we just share all that money with the customers. And that makes sense, right? Doesn't that make sense to you, right? They're not advertising. They're not actors. They're not an ad. They're actual authentic users of the product. And they're not going to promote that product for money unless it works for them. How do I know that? Well, there's 78 of you on this Zoom. And I will ask all 78 of you, would you be promoting these products right now in this company with Dave if they didn't work for you, no matter how much money the company offered? And the answer is no, you wouldn't. It has to be an authentic, raving fan of the product. And then they just created this rule that said, okay, you're a customer, you love the product. Well, you have the right and opportunity to go get other customers. And you can do that from day one. Not a waiting period. You don't have to be a customer for 6 months. You could fall in love with the product today and say, okay, I love this stuff. I'm going to use it. I have a story. The product did this for me. I have a story. You could tell that story to other people and they could become customers tomorrow. Every product has a gestation period. How long does it take for people to experience the benefits of the product? Could be 2 days, could be 2 weeks, could be 2 months, different for everybody. But whenever anybody has that epiphany of, okay, I love this stuff, they can in that moment start promoting it. So in essence, every customer can become a distributor, and every one of their customers can become a distributor, and every one of their customers can become a distributor. And there's no limit on it. There's nothing to bottleneck it. There's nothing to throttle it, because the rule is every customer can promote the product to other people to become customers. Even your brand new customers can do that. If you kind of get your head around that and map it out on paper, that's where okay, you get 5 customers. They each get 5 customers. So you have 5 and they have 5. Now there's 25 on your second generation and there's 30 on your whole team. And it doesn't matter whether you call them customers or distributors or sales leaders, or it doesn't matter what you call them, because they're actually all customers. Everybody's using the product. Some people are promoting the product because they want to take advantage of the income option. So when we talk about 5, 25, 125, we're actually talking about people that are promoting the product. We're not talking about all the customers, just the people promoting the product, which are also customers. So you have 5, you have 25, and then when those 25, if they each get 5, you have 125 on your third generation. Then you have 625, and then you have 3125, and it can just go on forever. And Dave and I know people. I never got this big. I don't know, Dave, you might have, but we know people that have 1 million people on their team. 1 million. And of course, people say, well, if that worked, sooner or later, everybody would be in the company. It would be saturated. Theoretically, mathematically, that's true. But consider these examples. Amway is the largest network marketing company in the world. Has been doing business for 60 years. They've been recruiting people who recruit people who recruit people for 60 years. Are you an Amway distributor? Are you an Amway customer? How many people on your block are Amway customers and distributors? How many Amway distributors do you even know? I know maybe, I don't know, 5. So they haven't saturated the world. Now, you could go even bigger and deeper and say, there was a guy 2,000 years ago that started a network marketing company. He didn't actually have a tangible product. He had an idea. He recruited 12 people frontline. They've all been recruiting for 2,000 years. They have weekly meetings every Sunday, sometimes Sunday, Wednesday, Thursday, sometimes 2 or 3 times on Sunday. They've been recruiting for 2,000 years. And still, most of the world are not in their program. That'd be Christianity or any other religion. So yes, it's theoretical, but it just never happens because most people don't want to do this. So, but here's the upside. And here's how simple it is, as Dave was saying, to change your odds. Because the odds are you won't make any money. Why? Well, because the odds are you won't do the work. So if you look at 100 people that join any company and you track them for a year, most of them don't make any money. But if you track what they did, most of them didn't do the work. Why didn't they do the work? Bad story. Not because they couldn't do the work, bad story. That's why Dave and I work so much on motivation, vision, goal setting, personal development, the story. Because once you have the story right in your head and your heart, you can do the work. And here's how simple it is to change the odds radically, just like this. And I have done this research for decades. If you just told your story, your product story, to one person a day, now you might have to ask 2 or 3 or 4 people, hey, can I tell you my story? And maybe 2 or 3 of them would say, no, you can't. I don't want to talk to you. But if you could just tell your story once a day, somebody says, okay, tell me your story. Say, I used to this and I tried this and now I'm happy, happy, happy. Love this product. Would you like to know more? That's it. Tell your story. Ask them if they'd like to know more. Once a day. Did you know that if you did that once a day for 90 days, once a day for 90 days, you would not be 1 out of 100 in your company. You wouldn't be that rare. You wouldn't even be 1 out of 1,000. You'd be more like 1 out of 5 to 10,000. What does that mean? It means that hardly anybody does the very simple thing that has them rise to the top. And if you want to know how much money that's worth, I don't know, Dave, if your company, as new as it is, a couple years old, yet has an income disclosure statement, do you?
Working on it.
Yeah. Well, you can help people figure this out. But if you want to know like how much somebody earns in a network marketing company that's 1 out of 1,000 or 1 out of 5,000, they're earning like 1,000, 5,000, $10,000 a month. That's how much people that are that rare in the company are earning. And that's how simple it is to rise to that level. And this is another way of looking at it that you can read about in the 4-year career. If you took a penny and doubled it every day for 30 days, so 1 cent, 2 cents, 4 cents, 8 cents, 16 cents, 32 cents, you'd actually have over $5 million. And the reason you'd have over $5 million is the consistency of the action of doubling the penny. Guess how much you'd have? Guess the chat is not open where people could answer this question. Can you open up the chat so people could answer this question?
Absolutely.
So here's the question, folks. Take a penny, double it every day for 30 days. You have over $5 million. How much do you have if you double the penny every other day instead of every day? And I'll help you. It's not $2.5 million. Most people go $2.5 million. I won't even make you give that wrong answer. It's not $2.5 million. How much do you have? Put it in the chat if you can answer that question. Just guess if you're not sure.
Or the Q&A.
Or put it in the Q&A. How much do you think you have? Double a penny every other day. Some of you are probably Googling it or putting it in chat, trying to figure it out. 10 million, Priscilla says. Now, Priscilla, listen to the question. If you double it every day for 30 days, you have 5 million. How much do you have if you double it every other day? Carrie says $500. Anybody else? Here's the answer. I don't know if you can see my answer.
Go ahead and say it, Richard.
$163.80. $163.80. And here's how you become successful in network marketing. It's as simple as this. Just tell your story every day. Just once a day. Really only takes about 5 minutes. Just tell your story every day. Here's how you fail in network marketing. Tell your story whenever you feel like it. Tell your story whenever it's convenient. Tell your story whenever you have time. Tell your story whenever your day goes such that, you just happen to, it all works out and you just happen to meet the right person and you get in a conversation. It's just sort of accidental, random. And so you tell your story. Equating to every other day, which most people, they actually tell their story maybe once a week. Why? Because they tell their story and somebody says no. And so the story that they bring in here is, I'm not good at this. No one likes me. No one will listen to me. People think this is a bad idea. Everyone's going to say no. No one wants to do this. That's the story, right? So I have a different story. Find my tool here. Yeah. So here's my story. My story is that this is a deck of cards. And we all know how many aces there are in a deck, right? 4 aces in a deck. What we don't know is where are they if the deck is properly shuffled. But here's what I know, and here's what Dave knows, and here's what tens of thousands of other people in network marketing know that are successful. Some will. Most won't. Some will. So the people that fail, they focus on the most won't. So they ask 5 people, and those 5 people say no. And so the story that they make up is, no one wants to do this. I can't do this. This isn't going to work. This is too hard. This isn't any fun, whatever. And they quit. Those that are successful believe, understand, learn that some will. How do we know that? Well, about 400,000 people a week join a network marketing company around the world. 400,000 a week. You could just look at your company and look at the growth in the last couple of years. It's indisputable, some will. So where'd that growth come from? It came from people who were willing to keep asking until they found the some will. So you ask this person, and they're an 8, which I would equate to somebody who is civil with you. They're not negative. They're not nasty. They're just kind of neutral. They're apathetic. You say, hey, can I tell you my story? And they're like, maybe later. Okay. So the next person you ask, they're a 6. They're even more apathetic. Not super negative, but they really don't care. They don't give you the time of day. Oh, it's getting worse. Do you know how many people quit after the 3rd card? Almost everybody. I have no idea what order these cards are in. I just grabbed them out of my drawer. I use them all the time in training. I don't know. Yes, some people are jokers. You will talk to some people and they are jokers. That's a whole other thing, right? And almost everybody quits after talking to a joker. Oh, here's another 6. Oh, hey, look at King. Is a king going to join your business? Actually not. They're going to act like they are. They're going to say they are. They're very interested. They're going to listen to your story as soon as, I got a few things I got to clear off my plate. I get these cleared off my plate. I'm right there with you, Dave. This sounds really exciting. A week later, hey, Dave, you ready to hear about? This really sounds good, Dave. And I gotta, I'm going on vacation. As soon as I get back from vacation, kings are inspiring, but ultimately they're depressing because they just waste a lot of your time because they're not an actual yes. They're a maybe. And I'd much rather have a no than a maybe. Oh, bingo. What do we got here? We got somebody that says, yeah, tell me your story. You tell them your story, they go, tell me more. Maybe I'll try this stuff. So the people that succeed, they just keep asking. They just keep asking. It's kind of like dating. I don't know how many of you married the first person that you asked to go on a date. How many of you quit dating when the first person said no? I won't go on a date with you. How many of you quit dating? Notice how in that domain, we just tend to not give up until we find a mate. Why? That's the model. We believe in that model. I know there's exceptions, but most of us just keep dating until we find a mate. In network marketing, you just got to keep dating until you find a mate. And those that do find some level of success, right? Now, how, are you going to be like wildly successful? Well, maybe not. But most people that get involved in network marketing, if they just figured this out, if they just told their story once a day, if they just worked for a couple of years, they're going to earn $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 a month, perhaps for the rest of their life, just based on a few hundred customers that are gathered through exponential growth. And then if you want to say, okay, wow, this was fun. I really enjoyed the money. I enjoy the work. I'm going to go learn how to make 5. And you get to 5 and okay, I'm going to go make 10. So the people that make a lot of money in network marketing, they don't go from 0 to hero overnight. It's kind of like driving a car down a dark road at night with the headlights. You can only see so far. And if you see that far and you go that far, then you can see further. And that's how people end up making a lot of money in network marketing, is they just keep their headlights on and they keep moving and they see more and more and more and they keep going for it. Most don't. Almost everybody in every company, including your company, is just a customer. So as much as we talk about all of this, 95% of the people in the database, they just want to use the product. They don't want to promote it. And that's okay. And the 5% that do want to promote it, most of them do not want to promote it effectively enough to be successful. They want to promote it whenever they feel like it, which is okay. Then what they might build is a $163.80 business. If you want to build an exciting business, a profitable business, a growing business, a cash flowing business, you got to tell your story every day. And don't buy into stuff about you got to tell your story 30 times a day or 10 times a day. You don't have to do any of that stuff. You tell your story once a day. Once a day, you'll kill it. Blow your mind what'll happen in once a day. And the magic of once a day is it's duplicatable. So if I have a small group of people and they say, well, Richard, what do we have to do? And I say, well, you just have to tell your story once a day. I can do that. It only takes 5 minutes. But if I tell them you got to tell your story 30 times a day, they all quit. Now, do some people tell their story 30 times a day? Yeah, we call them unicorns. They're about 1 out of 10,000 people. And, if you build a big enough team, you probably get some of them on your team. But for you and I, common folk, 1.9 GPA, high school grades, chicken choppers, just tell your story once a day and let it compound.
This is powerful stuff. And I will give everybody permission to talk to 2 people every day, but it is powerful stuff. And
it takes 5 minutes to talk to one, so you could talk to 2.
I think the most wonderful thought is if you could talk to one person, you can talk to 2. And if you do something again and again, you get better at it. And then, of course, you employ and get a hold of the magic of the numbers, and more just makes it more unlikely. Flipping those cards, knowing that there's 4 aces in that deck, you could say, well, oh my goodness, here's my luck all over again. I've looked at 10 cards and haven't got anything. I think I'll quit. But if you really knew and you had the desire, you would go through the whole deck and ultimately you'd get those 4 aces. And I just love this idea that if you can talk to somebody and you do it again, you get better. And I love this idea that if it's worth doing, it's worth doing poorly until you do it well. And Jim Rohn talks about right at first, you're getting 1 out of 10 and you keep doing it. And then magically, as you get better, you start getting 2 out of 10. And I think I'm maybe 3 out of 10. I'm really not that good. And in the regular world of life, I think, okay, if you got 3 out of 10 at college, that's an F, a very low F.
Right.
But if you were in baseball and you got 3 out of 10, you could become a millionaire. If you could get 3 out of 10 in this business, same possibilities. It's just so amazing. 3 out of 10. And if you can sponsor one person, well, you can do it again. And if you can make all of those things a habit, gathering customers, gathering distributors, teaching them to do the same thing again and again and again over time. And this is the whole idea. Success is simply being able to inspire a whole lot of people to do some basic productive things consistently over time. And then it just becomes a certainty. And knowing that those aces are there and all we got to do is look for them. And also we want to find those aces before they get into some stupid company. And so we want them to get in the right company.
There are some stupid companies. And, here's the definition of a stupid company. If you or other people would not use the product, paying for it, whatever the company charges, if you would not use the product because you love it for as long into the foreseeable future as you can see, then it's a stupid company. And there are a lot of stupid companies that have mediocre products, lousy products, products that would never survive in the marketplace unless there were people in a compensation plan trying to promote it. And fortunately, those companies don't last very long. So it all starts with the product. You got a product you love, you authentically love it, and you see a lot of other people love that product, you got a winner. So Dave, somebody in the Q&A, can't find it now. It went away, or maybe it was a private message to me. He told me he had a master's degree in poultry husbandry.
Oh, that's Chip Littlejohn.
Is he making that up?
No, he's my sponsor.
He's your sponsor, and he's got a master's degree in poultry husbandry?
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah. I'll introduce you. Probably you can introduce him to the guy that changed your life by saying you got to have a.
Earl Tooker is gone, I think. Well, I don't know, maybe not. That's funny. Yeah. I got to meet Chip.
Yeah.
So what else you want me to talk about, Dave?
Oh, golly. I think we could go on for a couple more hours, but
Easy.
Any call to action, if you will. But I think it's really profound what you just said. Look for a company and just ask yourself, would I buy this product if there were no compensation plan? And if it's a resounding yes, then you've really got something. And then if it's well managed and all of those other good things, wow, we're at the right place at the right time. So
and be in it for the long haul, folks. Here's what these opportunities have that no other opportunities have. I have clients that are third generation distributors, sales leaders, call them whatever you want to call them. They own a business that's third generation. Here's what that means. Their parents passed away. Their parents used to own the network marketing business, the distributorship, the income. Their parents inherited the income from their grandparents. Most of these people are in Shackley. Why? Shackley's been in business 60 years, but it's also true in Amway. These businesses, these teams, these exponential customer communities were built by somebody 50, 60 years ago. The grandparents who built the income passed away. Their children inherited it. Their children built it or spent it, whatever they chose to do with it, until they passed away, and now their children have it. And I'm not talking about 10-year-olds, I'm talking about 30-year-olds that inherited a network marketing income. $5, $10, $20, $30,000 a month from customers who'd been using these products for 50 years. And the customers are second and third generation, right? So we tend to use as consumers whatever our parents used and told us to use. The company I built my team in 45 years ago, we sold a gasoline additive called Mixigo. Now, it's not a network marketing company anymore because it failed as a network marketing company. But I still use that product. in everything I own that burns gasoline. Everything. My boat, my cars, my ATVs, jet skis when I own jet skis, my power washer, anything that burns gasoline, mix it goes in. I buy it by the case. I've been buying it by the case for 45 years. Why? It's an awesome product. So if you have an awesome product and you build this thing, you can get paid forever until you pass away, and it's part of your estate. And then whoever gets your estate can get that income. Now they can choose to just spend it, or they could build it. People that are coming to me want to build it. Say, hey, we inherited this Shackley business, this Amway business. We don't know what to do with it. Let me tell you what to do with it. Let me tell you how to 10x it. This is an opportunity unparalleled. The 4-year career is all about, why is it called the 4-year career? Because you can actually build this in 4 years. And here's what it looks like. The first 2 years, you're telling your story once or twice a day. Now, after about 3 or 4 months of that, you'll start enrolling people. It'll take 3 or 4 months for it to build up, the pipeline to kind of fill up. But after 3 or 4 months, you'll start enrolling people, customers, some people who want to promote the product. Maybe after about 3 or 4 months after that, you'll hit a pace of enrolling about 3 or 4 people a month. And if you enroll 3 or 4 people a month for 24 months, 2 years, you will have enrolled about 80 to 100 people personally on your team. Now, what you do the next 2 years, you keep enrolling. But more importantly, you fan the fire. You support people. You champion people. You celebrate people. You recognize people. You support people. You answer their questions. You coach people. You lead people. You just sort of blow on the fire, and you let time take those exponential numbers and grow them. Because it takes time for the 5 to get 25, 25 to each get 5 for 125, and the 125 to get 5 for 625, and the 625 to get 5 for 3125. It takes time. It takes years. You blow on that, and in your 5th year, you're going to be earning significant income. And here is the result of hundreds and hundreds of interviews that I have done with people like Dave, where I asked them, okay, once you actually got started building, how many people did you enroll the first year? How many people did you enroll the second year, third year, fourth year? How many people did you have on your total team the 5th year? These are people I've interviewed that have modeled the 4-year career, even if they didn't know the book existed. They just did it anyway, just because it could be done. I've interviewed hundreds and hundreds of leaders that in their 5th year, they're cash flowing 10 grand a month or more. So number one was $400,000 a month. And these are not in flim flam companies. These are in legacy companies that have been in business decades. And here's a secret metric. 95% of those people personally enrolled 80 to 100 people in a 24-month period. That first 2 years of getting on a pace of enrolling 3 or 4 people a month might take 6 months to work up to that. Build the pipeline because you're telling your story every day. You get on a pace of enrolling 3 or 4 people a month, and somewhere around your 18th, 24th, 30th month, things are going to explode. And you're going to start driving those exponential growth numbers deep on your team. And that's when you kind of convert from a builder to a leader to a champion, where you're celebrating people and you're blowing on that fire. And then your 5th year, you're into what I call residual income or legacy income. What does that mean? It means you have so many people on your team, so many customers, and so many sales leaders that have their own goals and their own motivation, that what you do as the person who started it doesn't matter to them. They're not relying on you every day to help them or motivate them or answer all their questions. And now you have freedom. You have an income that does not rely on you. That does not mean you can ignore it, can't compete with it, you can't destroy it, can't undermine it. Think of it like you have a whole bunch of rental homes, right? So you did the work to build up the rental home portfolio, and they're all paid for, and they're all rented. You can't ignore it. You have to fix the water heaters. You have to replace people when they move out. But you have built an extraordinary asset that will last generations. And you have that same thing in network marketing, and you don't have to invest anything. You don't have to invest $200,000 every time you want to buy a rental home. You can just tell your story once a day, tell your story once a day, tell your story once a day. That's the sweat equity. That's the investment. That's the risk. And the only risk, like Dave said, is people are going to tell you no. And the risk is you're going to have your feelings hurt. The people that win in network marketing get over it. And the ones who don't, they go back to the chicken plant, because we all have a chicken plant. We're right on 60 minutes, Dave.
All right. Well, thank you. Make success a certainty by doing the math. Wow, success is predictable. Thank you. These are good words. Mach 2 with your hair on fire. Some years ago, I downloaded it as an audio, and it was your voice. Is that still? I mentioned it's still you. So
it
you've
is
got a very positive voice to listen to.
If you buy it on Audible on Amazon, it is me narrating the book. You can buy it on Amazon, or you can read the free digital link that I sent you, Dave. If you want to distribute that to your team, you're welcome to.
I will pass it on. And I really appreciate your time. And today, make a decision and go for it. And day after day, share your story. Don't dabble. This is a serious opportunity. Don't play with it. Treat it like a business, and it'll give you business returns.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate the opportunity to share.
Thank you, Richard. Love to everyone. We believe in you.